In the days and weeks that followed, the community learned of this incident, and there was an outpouring of support. Donations of funeral supplies, services, funds. Strangers attended the funeral. I was an assistant DA at the time. I've worked in this district attorney's office for nearly 16 years. My opinion is that this was the single most widely traumatizing event in our community over that time. The public's belief was that someone dumped a body, maybe murdered, or maybe still alive, to die in the trash bag of a child on the side of the road. We learned that the defendant denied to herself that she was pregnant. As the pregnancy progressed, she began to understand, but continued to deny it to herself. Then one day, while alone, she went into labor and gave birth in the bathtub at her home. It indicates she passed out. When she came to, the child was face down in the water and dead. She placed the girl in a garbage bag, and then the bag in her purse, and she said she drove aimlessly for a while until it got to be late, and then dumped the child on the side of the road on Mr. Bowden's farm. She treated this deceased child, like garbage.
This is a case about a stillborn child that Ms. Lutman brought to term in a pregnancy that nobody was aware of, and that she wasn't aware herself until the last trimester. And for a woman to have to give birth to a child alone in her home, and then that child is stillborn, that also is a very traumatic event.
I know I need to be accountable for my actions. There is no excuse. But a series of poor decisions that were made by me 13 years ago. I should have known to call 911 or call for help, especially from my significant other. I know he would have been there for me. I should have known better. For the past 13 years, I have been grieving the loss of my baby in private. I have hated myself for my actions ever since, even feeling that everything would have been better off if I would have died instead of her. I know there is nothing that I can do to take back that traumatic day. My baby was not trash, and I should never have put her in a garbage bag. I am now in therapy, and it is helping me to process the trauma and stop bottling up my emotions. I truly do not know how I was able to function all of these years. To the people in Theresa, and to the person that found my baby, I am so sorry to have brought this to your community. I can only imagine how devastating it must have been. Thank you for giving her the burial she deserved. I'd like to apologize to law enforcement that worked the case for so long. I know I've already repeatedly said I'm sorry to you, and I wish I could take that day back. Words cannot express how awful I feel.
First, as Attorney Ahmad pointed out, there really isn't any argument that's being prevented that confine is necessary to protect the public from further criminal activity by Ms. Lutman. Before the offense, she had been convicted of no crime. For the past 13 years, she has not engaged in any further criminal activity. The father of the child, her partner, has stated that required mental health counseling is necessary, and that's his number one request that he made in his victim impact statement. We will never know why Ms. Lutman decided to bring her deceased baby to a remote location in Dodge County rather than go to a hospital and call the police. But I do want to remark that as difficult as this case has been for our community, especially those that found baby Theresa's body, I am grateful to the citizens of Dodge County that stepped up to provide baby Theresa with her burial and a dignified resting place, and I do want to thank them for their actions.